Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to New Japan Wrestling Kingdom 12, January 4th, 2018 review. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I finally have brought it to you guys, a review on New Japan Wrestling. Later on this week, you might see me uploading another review on New Japan. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I think I'm going to be probably reviewing the event that happened with Jay White, Switchblade versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match. That was the headline main event match of that event back on January 28th. So getting into things, the very first match on the Wrestling Kingdom card, we had the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson, competing against Roppongi 3K, Shoei and Yoi. They were the tag team champions going in as the junior heavyweight tag team champions. The Young Bucks walked away victorious. This match, in my personal opinion, was a decent match, but not exactly as good as what I've seen from the Young Bucks before in the past. The action, though, it was decent at best. I wouldn't say it was bad. The crowd, though, wasn't exactly jumping up like crazy like I've seen them do before for the Young Bucks in previous matches in their history. But this match was decent, a nice opener to the main card. So I was pretty impressed with it. This match itself, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. It was pretty decent. There was some matches I skipped. I didn't watch every single match. This show is about 5 hours long, so please, guys, give me a break. I watched the major big matches that were on everybody's mind. So some of them I did skip. So please excuse me if I don't review every single match that happened during this event. It was pretty damn long. The next match that I did watch after that was Kota Ibushi versus Cody Rhodes. We all know what both of these men are capable of doing, as we've seen them both compete in WWE. Kota Ibushi being the Cruiserweight Classic, and Cody Rhodes, of course, being on the main roster for so many years, from 2008 to 2014, 16, somewhere around there. Cody Rhodes, though, was shit when he became Stardust. That's all I have to say on that. Thought it was absolute garbage. But this match with Kota Ibushi versus Cody was good. I liked it. Kind of like the image change that Cody Rhodes has gone with. Despite the fact of the dye of the hair being blonde, I do like the little the ring he's got on his finger, making himself look like he's a superstar of the decade and whatnot. Kind of making himself look like he's a king or something in that sense. And he's prestigious based on the name alone, which is true. I mean, Rhodes family is a very prestigious wrestling family. Cody Rhodes and Kota Ibushi was a very good match. I really enjoyed watching these two men at work. They both performed very well together. They gelled well. I would love to see these two guys compete against each other again one-on-one. There was a little bit of tension between the two, more of competition than anything else. On top of that, I actually did like the fact that there was a lot of high-flying maneuvers performed by both of these men. They were very stiff in the moves that they performed on each other. This match definitely, in my opinion, gets a 4 out of 5 stars. So, kudos to both men, and great job. Kota Ibushi does walk away with the victory here in this grudge match. I did watch this one match where I wasn't too familiar with these two performers, both Japanese performers. It was a hair versus hair and no seconds death match for the Never Open Championship. Never Open Weight Championship, basically. Any weight class could compete for this title. And it was Hiroko Koto versus Mario Suzuki, who is the champion going in. Mario Suzuki is the champion, but he ends up losing the match. This match, it was okay. It wasn't bad. I definitely did like the championship match. It was. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, so I was pretty impressed with it. I wasn't complaining about it. And the ending was actually kind of interesting. For the first time ever in a hair versus hair match, I never saw the day that the loser, being the heel, would actually be willing to get in the middle of the ring, sit down in a chair, and cut his own hair. He literally buzzed his own hair and walked away from the ring. I was very impressed with that. It kind of shocked me a little bit seeing the fact that a heel wrestler was actually going ahead and be willing to cut his own hair in the middle of the ring and buzz his own hair off. So that was pretty different in itself. The next match that I watched was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is basically a cruiserweight match, but these guys perform like no other. I think they make the cruiserweights in WWE look pathetic, even when they're given full-fledged, all the way pedal to the metal. These guys are still better than WWE's cruiserweight division. The champion going in was Marty Scurll. Scurll, I can't pronounce the name properly. I do apologize, guys. But Will Ospreay was actually the winner of this match. Now, granted, WWE's asked to give him a contract and wanted to sign him on and bring him to WWE. He refused to. His reasoning behind it, if you guys haven't already heard, was because of the fact that he doesn't like WWE's heavy work schedule, and on top of it, having to work on the holidays, such as Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving. So he particularly doesn't like the idea of having to do something like that, which I don't blame him. If he's making enough money in what he does, who the hell needs to leave New Japan Wrestling if you're making enough money? But Will Ospreay, he won this match. He was the star of the match out of the 4 guys that were in this match. We had Will Ospreay, Marty Scurll, Hiromi Takahashi, and Kushida. Kushida I've heard of. He's performed in, I do believe, TNA. He's also performed in ROH. He's more known for ROH now, and he actually did hold the television championship and the IWGP championship almost simultaneously, I think, or at least held both of them at one time. Not at the same time, but have won them both before in his career. So overall, this match, in my opinion, was a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very impressed with this match. So I was very happy with watching this event. Now, there's a white British wrestler that I have never heard of, and I watched this match. His name is Jay White Switchblade. He's a very interesting character. He acts kind of like a alleyway thug kind of look. He has a Seth Rollins type of tights that Seth Rollins used to wear back in the day when he was the heel 3 years ago. I think him and Seth Rollins would have an outstanding match against one another and would put on a hell of a show. This was for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Hiroshi Tanahashi. I've heard of him in New Japan for many years. He's been in their top guy for 10, 11 years now. He's won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship several times. So I'm very familiarized with him. His finishing maneuvers are frog splash like Eddie Guerrero. He goes by the nickname Ace. And I think he was outstanding in this match. He's performed in many different spotlight main event quality matches. And I just enjoyed watching this one. This match was good as well. 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, it had its moments where it was kind of slow. The audience wasn't screaming to the top of its lungs. But at the end of the day, it was still a really decent match. So kudos to both of these guys. I enjoyed this one 100%. So not much to say on this match. I would definitely check this one out for Wrestling Kingdom at other matches that happened on this event. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, no disqualification, IWGP United States Championship match. And Hiroshi Tanahashi actually defeated Jay White in this match, so just to give you the result of that one. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho, I've already went over this in its own individual video when it first came out on YouTube, and I was able to watch the full match itself. As I already stated before, the match, I wouldn't say it was as good as Kenny Omega versus Okada. Okada and Kenny Omega was an hour long. They fucking killed each other. Brutally beat the shit out of each other. But, regardless of all that, this match was close to it. I mean, it was over 30 minutes long. They were very competitive. And the one thing that I did like that made this match stand out was the fact of the interaction that Chris Jericho made with the Japanese audience. It was kind of like as if he was WWE versus New Japan Wrestling. He really was disrespectful. He played a very heel-like character in the match. He was pretty much saying a lot of derogatory things to the Japanese fans. He was doing a lot of dirty tricks to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega, before this, was more of a heel than anything else, since he was basically the leader of the Bullet Club, which now I do believe he is no longer the leader of the Bullet Club, as that throughout the month of January that changed, and I believe Cody Rhodes is now the leader of it, with him and Kenny Omega competing one-on-one at an ROH Supercard match that's going to be happening in April, I believe. So I definitely will keep an eye out for that. I might try giving you guys a review on that if I have any way of pulling that up and watching it as it goes on, or a few days after it happens. But I'll definitely try to see if I can get that squeezed in here on my channel. But yeah, like I said, Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, 4 out of 5 stars all around. Good interaction with the fans and audience. I liked how he was very rough. Chris Jericho was very rough and stiff with the referee. He acted very realistic. It wasn't look like he was faking it. It was raw motion. And that's what helped this match get by, in my opinion, as a great match. The in-ring quality was good. I'm not going to discredit either one of these men. They were very good in this match. Kenny Omega finished the match off with hitting his finisher on a steel chair and pinning Chris Jericho 1, 2, 3 for the retaining of his championship. But Chris Jericho was very good in this match, and the fact of his interaction with the audience, the way he acted with the referee, and pretty much just overall character and charisma that he put in the match without even putting on a promo. So, at the end of the day, I was very satisfied with what Chris Jericho's performance was. Kenny Omega was more just in-ring work, which was very well done. I'm not going to discredit him on that, as I already mentioned. And that's pretty much all I have to say on that. If you haven't seen my video on the Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho review that I just did on a single review on that, I'll put a link in the description below so that you guys can take a look at that. I don't want to go ahead and reiterate everything I said before, but I'll go ahead and I'll give you guys that video so you guys can check it out and give you a quick link to my video so that you can watch that and get a more inside look to what I had to say. So last match was Okada versus Tatsuo Natto, for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. These two guys actually do have history with each other. About 2 years back, Natto actually did have the Heavyweight Championship. He stayed champion for about 60 to 70 days. and then Okada won that championship from him, and has been champion ever since. So very interesting how long Okada has been champion. He's been champion for almost 2 years now. June of 2016 is when he won it. So he has had about 10 title defenses in his career as the champion in this reign. So very good. It's very interesting how New Japan is sticking with Okada with this title. Apparently, I am assuming that they're going to have somebody that's going to win this title and they're going to try to put over very big. And whoever does beat him is going to have a very big moment in their career within New Japan Wrestling. The match itself, it was pretty good. I wouldn't discredit it or anything like that. Give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Maybe a 4, actually, to be fair. 4 out of 5 stars is more suitable. The in-ring work was pretty decent. Audience was kind of in and out of it. I think the crowd was just kind of worn out and from screaming and yelling throughout the entire event. I mean, the event was about 4 hours long, and then you had the press conferences and all that, which stretched out to 5 hours. But yeah, I mean, this show overall, just overall as a whole, was outstanding. If you want to actually sit through the entire 4.5 hours, by all means, I wouldn't, throw the idea out the window and not do it. I mean, it is well worth it. They put on an outstanding performance. Not to mention, another thing I do like about New Japan is you can feel the culture within Japan. You can feel their culture. For some strange reason, I actually feel Japanese culture within the New Japan Wrestling presentation. It feels kind of very old school. It doesn't feel like modern day type of stuff. I mean, outside of the electronical lighting in the arena and whatnot, and the Tokyo Dome, outside of that, I mean, everything else you feel like an old school culture feel to it, which I kind of like. It's something you don't feel in a lot of things these days. We don't have a lot of our old culture still around these days. We seem to now be drifted away from our own culture and things of that sort. And that's something New Japan Wrestling, I get that feeling from. Especially when you have Japanese wrestlers versus Japanese wrestlers. When you got it with American versus Japanese, or a white British person, something like that from Europe, it kind of loses its feel. It feels like modern day, everyday wrestling. But when you have it with Japanese versus Japanese, it actually does feel a lot like there's some kind of culture feeling to it. I don't know how to explain it. It just I kind of get that feeling from it. It kind of makes me want to learn Japanese and go move to Japan, to be honest with you. Because they still have the old cultural traits, some of the old school traits and ideas and morals that today's world doesn't seem to have anymore. Which is kind of sad. That's why our society as a whole sucks. That's just my opinion. Maybe other people's opinion is completely different from mine. That's perfectly fine with me. I don't care. That's fine. But just for me, from an overall standpoint, I like the way New Japan Wrestling is. I like how they present their wrestling. I like how it feels realistic. I like how the wrestlers perform stiff in the ring. They take care of each other, but they rough each other up. They will receive bruises. They will receive probably, severe swelling, maybe. I don't know. But they do mark each other up and really pound on each other for the image that it's real, even though it's predetermined results. And I like that. I think that's great. That's one of the things I like about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, he's stiff in the ring. He's rough with his opponent. He makes the match feel like a fight. And that's what these guys do in the ring every single time you see them perform. They are competing in a fighting, competition, combat way. In WWE, it's like watching a dance like you see in a movie. And that's something I don't like about WWE these days. WWE used to be very stiff with some of their matches. They would make it look competitive. But now it's just like watered down, nobody cares, who gives a shit kind of attitude. And I don't like that. I want to feel like I'm watching a fight. I want to feel like I'm watching something unfold in front of me that's going to make me think that this is real. I want to make it where I believe that these guys truly do dislike each other. Like, they really do want to hurt each other. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega was a prime example of that. Those two guys, leading up to this match, they were brutal. They beat each other up. They hit each other with championship belt. They beat each other up in press conferences. Chris Jericho was mean to some of the Japanese reporters. He was very, very angry. He had raw emotion, as well as Kenny Omega. Jericho, seen in WWE, he's watered down. He feels very like he's just doing what he's told to say. He just says what he's told to do, basically. And that kind of sucks. I want to feel like as if the man cares. And in New Japan, during this build-up, he cared. It showed that he gave a shit. He was pretty much, in my opinion, told, I want real. I want realism to this. I want to feel as if you guys truly do hate each other even though you don't. And I think that was very outstanding for New Japan to do that. And it was great to see Chris Jericho performing in New Japan. I'm pretty certain we're going to see him one more time in another match. I did read some news article about that. I think he's got another match with Natto, the guy that competed against Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I think they're going to be competing at the Long Beach event in Strong Style on March 25th, which, by the way, guys, I will definitely be reviewing. I'm going to try to watch it live on the New Japan World streaming service, which, by the way, yes, I do have now, guys, so I'm not watching this illegally. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was kind of insightful and enjoyable for you guys to watch. Please leave your comments and opinions down below. I'll definitely get back to you on that. Hit the like button if you like the video, and on top of it, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and have a great night, and I'll be back with a WWE Elimination Chamber review. What a joy this is going to be. Thanks, guys. Bye.